In this demo, I'm going to show you how to create buttons that can swap out different data visuals on your report. And this is also going to use bookmarks in the selection pane so that you can basically hide one visual and reveal another one when users interact with the buttons that you have on your report. So I'm going to go back to View. I'm going to turn on my bookmarks and my selection pane. Now I've already taken some additional steps here just to make this demo a little bit faster. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give users the ability to swap between the line chart that we have here showing year-over-year video game units sold. And this chart, this shows the exact same information, but just as a single trend line from 2019 to the end of 2020. And here are my buttons that I'm going to use. And these buttons are just active versions and inactive versions of buttons to let my user know which bookmark is active and which bookmark is inactive. And I'm going to show you how to combine these components to make this a very seamless experience for users of this report. So first, I'm just going to cut that visual. I'm going to add it to this page. And I'm going to reorganize the page just a little bit because I'm going to need to make room for the buttons that I'm going to add at the top. I'm going to make these charts just a little bit smaller. I'll put one there. And I'm just going to cover up one chart with the other. And so you can see that I have these charts layered on top of each other. As a reminder, if I wanted to bring the year-over-year chart to the foreground, I can easily do that by just selecting it, going up here to my format options, and I can bring that to the front. So now my year-over-year line chart is in front, my trend chart is in the back. I'm going to put those over top of each other. I'm also going to note where they are in my selection pane. So you can see that my two line charts are over here. They're at the top. I'm pretty much ready to go. So now let's go ahead and bring in our buttons. I'm going to grab my different buttons. I'm going to cut those. And I'm going to paste those on this page as well. Next, I'm going to just place them at the top because again, these are where I want my buttons to be. These are where I want users to go to switch back and forth between the two. And you can see that my 4 buttons are now over here at the top in my selection pane. And what I'm going to do is, because having the name button for all 4 buttons isn't terribly helpful, I'm just going to quickly rename these. So I'll call this one year-over-year off, and I'll call this one overtime off. And to rename these, all I'm doing is just double-clicking on button so that it gives me the prompt to rename it. I'll give this button a name of overtime on. I'll give this button a name of year-over-year on. Okay, and now I'm going to layer those together. And now it is time. You might notice that you can see one button layered over top of the other. It's fine because we're going to hide all of these pieces and we're going to trigger them using bookmarks. So don't worry about that quite yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the first view for my users. And for this view, I'm going to have it show the overtime version of the line chart. So I'm going to create a bookmark. I'm going to call this bookmark overtime line chart. I'm going to find my year-over-year line chart. I'm going to hide it. And I'm going to find my year-over-year on button and hide that because currently my year-over-year chart is not on. So I'm going to hide the on button. And I'm also going to find my overtime off and hide that because I am currently showing my overtime line chart. So I want my on button for the overtime chart to show at the same time as the overtime line chart. Makes sense. I'm going to go over to bookmarks. I'm going to update that bookmark so that it will always look like this. Now I'm going to create another bookmark, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to reverse which items are on and which ones are off. So I'm just going to quickly go through here and hide the on button, hide the off button, turn on the year-over-year button, and hide the overtime on button. And I'm going to turn off the overtime line chart and turn on the year-over-year line chart. And I'm going to save that to my new bookmark. And I'm going to give this a name of year-over-year line chart. So my bookmarks are already configured the way that I want them. If I click on the overtime line chart, you can see that the button is turned on and I'm seeing the overtime line chart. And if I select the year-over-year line chart, my year-over-year button is turned on and I'm showing the year-over-year line chart. That's exactly what I want, but what I want users to do is interact with these buttons. So just real quickly, this is very easy. It's just the finishing touch. I want to go to my sold over time off button and turn on the action, change the type to bookmark, and select my overtime line chart. Now when I control click on this button, it activates the correct bookmark. And now I just need to do the same thing for my year-over-year button, because currently it doesn't do anything when I click on it. So I'll select it, go to action, change it to a bookmark type, and I'll select the year-over-year line chart. Now all users have to do is just click these buttons and it will toggle back and forth between the two bookmarks. And you can see it creates a pretty seamless looking experience where they're swapping out the different visuals.